We're off to the races. Merry Christmas, Steven. Last week was Halloween, and this week is Christmas.
This week is Christmas.
We are just skipping around the calendar, friends.
Yeah. Speaking of calendar, I feel like last weekend was really weird because we both lied to each other. Do you remember this?
We lied to each other? Oh my God.
On Friday, we both were texting about a movie called Tar, and you said to me, would you ever go see this movie? And I said no, and you're like, oh yeah, me neither.
Same. And then?
And then the next day, simultaneously, both of us saw the movie across the country and walked out of the theater at literally the same exact time. With two very different reactions.
Two very different takes on Tar.
On Tar.
I texted you like, would you see this movie? And you're like, no, I'm just like, I felt like I needed to be in the mind space for it. I want to be clear. It was 2 hours and 38 minutes.
Oh my God. That was, okay. Basically, I had a negative reaction. You had a more positive.
I had a positive reaction.
And now that I've had time to sit with Tar, I can definitely say it's a quote unquote good movie, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But it was so long, and it was one of those movies where every scene I thought to myself, this could be the last scene, and I really hope it is. Even though I've only been here for 15 minutes, I really hope that this is the last scene.
I was definitely glancing at my watch towards the end. I was like, okay, we gotta be wrapping this up. But I was mostly disappointed because they were kind of spelling out a fun mystery, let's just say. I don't want to spoil. And when I realized, okay, ridiculous of me, but when I realized there was only like 20 minutes left, I was like, oh, we're not gonna get the mystery. Like, it's just gonna end. It's gonna be one of those.
I honestly can't even remember what this said mystery is. I could barely pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think it reminded me why I like movies like Falling for Christmas a whole lot more.
Whole lot better. Much better.
A whole lot better. Much better. Even though I would say Falling for Christmas had more plot confusion than Tar. Tar was actually more straightforward.
Tar was more streamlined of a movie, for sure.
more streamlined.
I was going to say, Falling for Christmas has a structure you could really hang your hat on, but the way they fill it out is full kook.
Full kook. I mean, yeah. It is. And I think like, okay, a movie like Tar, the title is Tar, so we know the movie is about tar. Mm-hmm. Falling for Christmas, the title is something that makes sense on a Christmas level, but it doesn't really make sense with what actually happens in the movie.
She tumbles for Christmas.
Well, she tumbles.
She rolls for Christmas.
She free falls, but the problem is the preposition. She doesn't fall for Christmas. She falls around Christmas.
She falls a little bit before Christmas.
Yeah, head injury before Christmas.
Oh my God, I love this kind of title though. It only makes sense too with a movie poster like the one we got with like a bandage on her head. You're like, oh, I get it now. Falling.
And I get it, right? Like she's going to fall literally, and she's going to fall in love with Christmas. She just doesn't really fall in love with Christmas.
No, it's not about Christmas.
It's not really about Christmas. It's more winter, which is fine with me. I like winter as well, but the connection to Christmas was pretty tangential in the same way that Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends was very unrelated to Halloween.
Yeah, very similar movies, let me tell you with that.
Very similar
Most of the days weren't Christmas. Mostly all of them.
Mostly all of them, and very similar to Halloween Ends. I had no idea how long this movie was, not in terms of length of the movie, but like how many days was she a house person at this
that was
at the North Star Lodge.
North Star Lodge, baby. Yeah, I had the same thought. I think it was like 3 days, 2 or 3. Daddy,
I guess
a lot of daddy work in this movie, which makes me really uncomfortable. I feel like, can you say daddy? Like I couldn't play this part. No, but I couldn't play this part is what I'm saying.
And every time she said daddy or my dead mom, all I could think of was her channeling her own relationship with Michael and Dina Lohan.
Michael and Dina Lohan trademark.
She's always like, my mom always said this. And then we find out that her mom was dead when she was very
like 5. Yeah.
And she had already said that her only memories of her were her perfume and her scent.
Smell really does that to you. Yeah, the daddy and mommy work was, the daddy of it all was really scary for me. I don't seem natural saying that. There are some girls that it really works. It really works on them.
Some girls love to say.
Some girls it totally works. They're like, oh, my daddy's coming. I'm like, okay, what kind of daddy? What is he? Does he pay for your braces or other stuff?
Yeah, what did your daddy pay for?
Like, what kind
your
of daddy?
Braces or your bag?
Yeah, or something worse. No, yeah, the daddy work is always so uncomfortable for me, but Lindsay sells it, and she's sold it before. This is like a rehash of some stuff we've seen from her, I think. This isn't the first time she's done Spoiled to Not. I think she did it in Just My Luck, although I don't really remember that plot.
Right. She's definitely tackled the spoiled rich girl for sure in some of her earlier works. But I think what's interesting about this movie is that from the beginning you get a sense, and I couldn't tell if she was making a choice to express to us that she didn't really love her lifestyle as an heiress, or if she was just kind of not engaged with the filmmaking. But from the beginning of the movie, we wake up and she's in some sort of glamorous hotel room.
Mm-hmm. Full silk.
Yeah, silk. She's swimming in silk.
Mm-hmm. Look
and
nice.
It did look nice, actually. But you got to keep your hotel room really warm in the cold. Otherwise, that silk's going to be cold.
Doesn't retain heat. Chilly. And she has that eye mask on, and she's doing everything with the mask on. So I'm like, whoa, she is remembered.
Yeah,
she's memorized, is what I meant.
She'd positioned herself perfectly so her arm would perfectly hit the phone. But when she wakes up with her wake up call, she's acting kind of unenthused, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it feels like business as usual, like a routine of hers. But I'm like, how is this like you're at a hotel that you don't stay at, but it's her routine
that she's never been to before.
It's like a hotel that she's never been to before ever, but she's got like this set morning. And I read The Power of Habit, okay, and I know how memory and habit works. And this bitch has a habit down, and her habit is like reaches for the phone. She says like, no, thank you or whatever, hangs up.
She hangs up mid-conversation.
Rude. So rude. Hits the blinds, the things open, all before she has taken her silk mask off. And this is something we're gonna see this again later.
We're gonna see, you're right. Well, that's something that the movie, I think, has a really tricky relationship with, is their understanding of amnesia, because there are some things that bleed.
What would you remember?
That bleed into her amnesiac state, and some things that don't.
Yeah.
And like her morning routine bleeds in, as well as her fear of bacon, but other things,
not so
much.
And
her childlike love of snow globes. But other than that, like a lot of other things don't make the cut.
I was going to say, I think, at first I was really confused. I'm like, what would you remember with amnesia? Like, would you remember how to make your bed? Maybe, maybe not. But like I said, hey, bragging, read The Power of Habit. And The Power of Habit is all about how that habit loop lives in another part of your brain. So I was like, wow, this movie's smart. This movie's smarter than I thought.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Sure.
Good job, Netflix.
Before she has her concussion, though, she wakes up. We have her group of people that are helping her. They come in.
Ridiculous.
Did you know that was her sister?
What?
Her sister was
the brown-haired babe in the back.
Was the stylist, like with the edgy bob.
Oh my god, I knew she looked familiar, and I don't know what I was gonna call her, but that's her sister.
Ali Lohan.
Call her Ali. Love you, Ali girl. They're from my home, Long Island.
Yeah. So they come in, and she is getting ready for her day. They're picking her outfit. Basically, she has nothing really going on during her day, and then we cut to the slopes, which I love to see.
These are great shots, like action shots of the slopes.
Really good action shots, and Now, the male lead, I know that his name was some Cord Overstreet, right?
Yeah, that's not his real name.
But I didn't have a face for who he was. Like, I didn't know what he looked like.
Oh, no.
So
I'm like, his name's Jake.
no. So
Jake.
when we see on the slopes, we see her father and this guy having a conversation. It was hard to internalize like what they were saying.
Oh, yeah.
And
I didn't take it as plot yet because we hadn't even been introduced to him.
Exactly. So we find out that this one guy wants something from her dad. And
yes,
what that is was a little bit confusing for me at the beginning because I didn't know how invested we were supposed to be in this person.
It took me a second watch to realize like, oh, we're introduced to him way sooner than when he finds her like dead at the foot of a tree. Like we're introduced to him 20 minutes before that. I didn't realize.
20 minutes before, and we'll get to it, but I really didn't I didn't bank this in my memory bank. So the fact that him and her had already met before.
Oh yeah, he smashes into her and he gets coffee on her like outfit.
Didn't come back to me until almost the end of the movie. So It was very confusing.
This movie wanted you to experience memory loss as well.
It did.
It's an all-encompassing experience.
It really did feel like I was having memory loss. But also...
It's ridiculous that I needed a second watch through of this, and that's all I'm going to say. There's no way I should have.
It didn't click until I watched it a second time. It really didn't. Because then I was able to appreciate the relationship, and it made me realize that they had a totally missed opportunity here to make the movie so much more darker than it could have been. Because I think it would have been way more interesting if he did know who she was and he was keeping her hostage there.
Oh my God, a Dunbar Beast scenario.
Yeah,
don't go in the West Wing. Come to my castle.
Keeping her hostage, and he wouldn't release her back to her parents until they decided to invest in the lodge.
That is a dark read, but I love it.
That's Kidnapped. The movie Kidnapped for Christmas.
Kidnapped around Christmas.
Although I guess that's sort of similar to that Melissa Joan Hart movie.
Haven't seen it, not familiar.
You haven't seen Holiday in Handcuffs?
No, I haven't.
When she kidnaps Mario Lopez?
I will say I only watch these movies specifically for this podcast, so I'm being held against my will right now. Everyone at home.
Okay. You know who else is being held against their will is that trolley hot chocolate girl who has to walk around the locker room and give out hot chocolate to the guys as they're getting changed. That was really uncomfortable.
Well, I don't remember that. I'm not remembering a trolley hot chocolate girl.
Okay, so they ski down to the foot of the lodge. The dad wins and he's like, listen, talk and walk. Give me your pitch as we walk.
Yeah.
And that's when he explains that he runs a beginner's lodge on the other side of the mountain and he needs financial investment to keep the lodge going. And the dad was like, yeah, great idea, but no. And thanks for coming, but you can have whatever you want from my trolley hot chocolate girl.
Yes. And then he gets it, and that's what he ends up spilling on Lindsay.
Correct.
Full circle for me. Thank you for that. Wow.
Now,
maybe
we
a
also
third
get
watch.
Maybe you need a third. Now, we also get my favorite character in the movie during this opening sequence.
Is it Tad? It better not be.
Of course it's Tad.
Oh, I hated Tad. I hated him. I am so tired of these like influencer like stereotypes. It's ridiculous.
It was an influencer stereotype, but he also, Tad has a sexual awakening during the movie.
The whole movie, I kept going, I don't want to say this to Steven, but I want to be like, Tad's gay, right?
Not only is Tad gay.
Tad's definitely gay, confirmed.
Tad's Austin Powers. Like the way that he was talking sounded... He was doing a gay Austin Powers. And I don't know if that's redundant, but it was so, the choices that he was making was so far removed from the tone of the movie. It was so bizarre.
I know.
He made me laugh, but what made me laugh even more was his performance in the blooper reel that comes during the end credits.
I love a blooper reel. That was such a lovely surprise.
Yeah.
Did he break character in the blooper reel? I don't remember. probably.
He breaks character a little bit, but he also hams it up even more. It's really funny, and he makes Lindsay laugh.
Oh, this movie was so slapstick at times. I almost couldn't believe it. I was like, really? This is what we went for?
It was slapstick, but I think one of the problems with the movie was that the editor didn't know when to cut the slapstick scenes. They always went on for a beat too long. Like they never knew when to
get out.
Like when she was struggling with the fitted sheet, it was funny the first time, but then they kept making her do the same move. And it was kind of like, okay.
I've been on sets before, and it's like, they were like, we have a lot of this kind of footage. Just pad out this montage with this. They did.
Yeah. I mean, the funniest slapstick for sure, because I really haven't seen it done like this, was when she was making eggs and she just slammed the eggs onto the table. And it just splattered everywhere. That was very funny and felt very fresh.
And then he steps in. He's like, okay, my turn. I loved when she saw the raccoon and she flips backwards over the armchair.
That was good too.
Because the raccoon was like a puppet. It's like not even like, I'm pretty sure this movie could afford an animal wrangler for a day, but they went with a puppet instead.
It was very good. Anyway, so we find out that Tad, who I thought originally, because he was coming across as very gay, I thought was like her friend or something like that. No, we find out that they're actually lovers. These two are lovers. And he's coming to stay at the lodge, or not the lodge, at the hotel. And
the Belmont. Where is the Belmont is what I wanted to know. Canada? Maybe
Unimportant. It's in, I think that it's probably in Aspen, near Kyle Richards' house there, or wherever Kathy Hilton had her breakdown.
Let's put it there. Yeah, that's where
at her the conga line.
The conga line breakdown
was here.
High altitude, sickness, no sleep before, tired.
1, 2 drinks.
Do you want a conga with me? No.
Kathy asked if we wanted to do the conga line.
There's no footage, and I just can't help but picture it. I can't
like
help
a woman going berserk, begging people to do the conga line.
It reminds me of being like 5 or like a little older, and there was communions happening, and in the car beforehand, my mom used to go, "You better get up and dance, or you're gonna be in trouble when we get back later." I would have to like participate.
Yeah, that's what they needed. They needed a party starter.
We needed a stern mom. Okay, we're off.
Yep. Okay, well then we also get to see the North Star Lodge, which initially feels very tonally similar to Castle Dunbar. Or actually no, it feels charming. Similar to the hotel that happened to be near Castle Dunbar.
That yes. Because Dunbar had seen better days, let's just say.
Yeah, Dunbar was cold, if you remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we meet the main guy's daughter, and we find out that her mom is dead.
Gone. And
now, if you think that this is the only dead mom in the movie,
think
you're
again.
There's 2 dead moms in the movie, which is a lot. Now, did you find the one guy at the resort very confusing?
The assistant guy?
Who looked very similar to him and really wasn't given a name, and we never see him. Like, I feel like he was written into the script and then written out, because he was there in the beginning and played like sort of a minor role, and then he's gone as soon as Lindsay Lohan shows up.
Doesn't he get in the car at the end with Tad though? In the ultimate callback? Is that the same guy?
No.
Oh, we're talking about someone else.
That's the blonde-haired, scary-looking butler from the
blonde-haired, scary butler. Yeah. Oh, we're talking about somebody else that I don't recall right now.
Yeah, there's this helper guy at the North Star Lodge in the beginning, but he kind of goes away.
He disappears
when Lindsay arrives.
Because they're like, we need a job for Lindsay.
So they fire
Get out of
him.
here, man.
They fire their paid employee and they take on her, who's working for free.
Unpaid, yeah. Because like she has no name, so why we can't put it on the books.
We
But
also
okay.
see a really scary scene at the North Star Lodge where they open the drawer of his desk
Oh
and
yeah.
there is a terrifying angel
Were you
doll.
scared of the angel?
Well, it was a little bit creepy the way that it was filmed. I will say.
She looked like a doll, like a dead doll.
Yeah, she looked more doll-like than angel-like for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're at the Belmont, and Daddy has come through and met Tad at the table. Insufferable scene, if you ask me. But I need to bring it up only because that's where Lindsay goes, no bacon for me. I don't do bacon. So
I
that's
don't do
that's
bacon.
another thing that has carried past her memory
And
loss.
if you hear that line and you think to yourself, "Oh, that's just the line in the movie," wrong.
Wrong. You
It's
better be
actually
paying
it's
closer
actually
attention.
gonna yeah, it's like your spinning top in Inception. It's the thing you have to keep your eye on so you know if you're in the real world or the fake world. It's like, is Lindsay eating bacon? Will tell you whether or not she has amnesia.
Yeah, no, I don't do bacon. Seemed like a throwaway on the first watch. On the second watch, no, 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 no.
No,
It's like the Sixth Sense. Like you really gotta have your eye on it though.
that's why I thought it would have been funny
Blink or you miss.
if to let us know that that line was important. The only way to do it is if she would have yelled it. Like, I don't do bacon.
Joe Bacon, and then it would be like,
It's-
yeah. Well, they were going for subtlety in this movie, as we've concluded. It was really subtle.
Okay, there was a line in this scene that totally shifted. I had an Oprah aha moment,
Explain.
which is when Tad or Ted to the dad says, "Oh, I'm an influencer, blah blah blah," and her dad says, "Oh, you're a salesman."
And I said, mm-hmm. Wow.
I said, "Wow, I never thought about
You
it."
are. You're a salesman.
He is a salesman.
That was the best line in this whole movie, hands down. I learned a
was
lesson.
really- But yeah, so we see their relationship. We see that she's been offered a position as vice president of atmosphere at the Belmont Hotels.
Insane. I was like, this is a trust fund kid, right? Like, why is she being offered a job?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we find out that the dad feels a lot of guilt because, spoiler alert, Lindsay also has a dead mom in the movie, and the dead mom's dying wish after she gave her that snow globe from Stad.
Yeah, I was like, where's Stad? Okay.
Stad was to take care of their daughter, and I guess this is his way of taking care of her,
doing it.
And then
sort of insane because it looks like he did it right.
they have this really nice heart-to-heart moment where Lindsay goes, "I really miss her," and then. This was like they definitely dropped the ball on a lot of the dialogue in the movie, but like especially when the dad just goes, "Me too," when talking about their dead mom. Like there was
the dialogue in this movie was insane. It was written by an insane person.
All the dialogue was very observational and not observational in like an observational humor sense, observational and just pointing out things
that's what's
were
there.
on.
Yes. That is there. Mm-hmm.
Like the characters were constantly just pointing and telling you things that were right in front of them. Constantly.
Yeah, there was so much sentence finishing too. I was obsessed with it. I was like,
it's
oh
always
my
like,
God.
It's always like, is that a hairbrush? That's a hairbrush. Do you have a hairbrush? I'm holding a hairbrush. Can I borrow your hairbrush? The hairbrush I'm holding? It was like, oh my God.
They had to pad out the runtime. I'm not sure how long
I love
movie
this
is.
song. This song is Jingle Bell Rock. I know the words. But
oh, like let's get to that scene.
Okay, so that's coming up next. So basically, then we find out that the dad has to go do business. He's going to leave his daughter at the resort to enjoy some time, which didn't feel like a big deal. And she's going to spend her time with Tad, and they are going to go on a snowmobiling excursion.
Yeah, to do a photo shoot. And I'm like, okay, camera crew, whatever. No, it's an iPhone photo shoot.
But I felt like we were missing a little bit of information because he says, like, we're going to go do the photo shoot. And then Lindsay's like, oh, Daddy really would have liked it if we had done the photo shoot
at the
here.
hotel.
And I was like, oh, is it? Okay, I was like, maybe I'm missing something. But I guess they're just trying to say that he's like so wildly influential that wherever he takes a photo sparks a revolution.
So, yeah, I was really confused. It sounded like a photo shoot, and I was like, yeah, it would be nice if you did it at the family hotel, maybe like for business or something. So I'm expecting like a full photo shoot, and it was just them two with their phone on the top of a mountain. And I was so confused by that.
On the top of the mountain, and up until this point, we really don't have a good read on Tad. Like, obviously, he's extremely immature. But I did feel like there was something bubbling under the surface where Tad could be a villain, right? Like he could be a bad character.
He gave evil energy. Yeah.
So then I thought, oh, this is good, right? He's going to, and we see it. He proposes to her.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, he's gonna push her off the mountain. That's funny. That is funnier.
Funny. That's so funny. I thought it was funny. Okay, so like it kind of works where she's dangling from the side of the mountain and he rips the ring off her finger as she falls.
Yeah,
kind of like it's more important for him to save that than anything. That was funny.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he only holds on to the ring, which was too big, and he does make a good point. Like, we'll just get it resized, but it slips off, and
that line comes back multiple times. It's too big, the ring. File that one away for later. It's too big.
That's right. Yeah, it does come back multiple times.
Look at us really unpacking things. Also, we have to mention the Jingle Bell Rock scene on the way up to the mountain. Lindsay gives us her best Mean Girls. She sings Jingle Bell Rock, and there's a touch screen that you go around in a circle, and that's how you get the volume up and down.
Yeah, it sounds like she warmed up by gargling on some gravel.
I love this song. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. And then for those Mean Girls lovers out there, or correct me if I'm wrong, he cuts out and like changes it or talks over the parts in the movie that she wouldn't have been singing. And then she comes back on What a Bright Time, which is what she does in Mean Girls. So I think it was like a callback and I loved it.
Correct me. I'll take your word for it.
Steven hates Mean Girls, so.
I don't hate Mean Girls, but it's
not your thing.
It's not my thing. But I did enjoy it. It always makes me laugh, like when people say that very normal songs are their favorite songs ever.
Oh, I'm like, really? That's your favorite?
My favorite song is Jingle Bell Rock. It's like
I love Jingle Bell Rock.
But anyway, they're at the top of the mountain.
Can I bring up a line that she says at the top? She says, make me look sporty, but not sweaty. And I thought she said, I want to look 40.
And he says, it's all smoke and mirrors, baby.
It's all smoke and mirrors, baby. But I just want to bring that up. Okay.
Yeah, they take their sleigh ride up, their ski ride up. She's getting like whipped in the face by branches. It's all very funny. They propose. He takes the picture. She falls off the mountain.
Yeah. And those rolls down the hill were pretty next level. It was like longer than any fall I'd ever seen.
I mean, she should be dead. She should for sure be dead. Now, at the same time, the North Star is chartering a sleigh ride with this couple that I wish we got to spend a little more time with.
Oh, yeah, they were magnetic. I was like, who are you?
They were very... When so they're scream singing in the carriage.
Yeah, wait, they're singing as they pull up to her body.
They're scream singing, and the main guy sees a body sprawled out in front of a tree, and he's like, whoa, guys, shh, I gotta go take a look.
Yeah.
And then they go, I hope that's not a dead body.
Is it a dead body? The girl goes. Her and Tad, for me, were acting in different movies. That one woman and Tad, because it was like...
It's like they shared a trailer and they were running lines with each other and they were like, oh, we got this. And then they got
there and it was like, oh, not what we're doing. Some of this was so Christmas on the nose that it was just like, as an actor, how are you justifying scream singing in the sleigh on the way up? Like, what is your character thinking? Because I'm thinking like, I'm tired. I want to enjoy the scenery. Like, what?
Yeah. It was bizarre that they were, because what you would have expected the scene was that everything we know about his hotel is that it's so boring and no one wants to be there. You would have expected him to be the one singing, and the two of them to be like, oh my god, this is so boring.
Yeah, like, or just like a little more down home. But everyone in this movie looked like a model. Everyone was hot. Every single person.
Every single person. And then Okay, so they find the dead body there. Great.
Kind of reminds me of Georgia Rule when they find her laying on the floor under the sign. Just to bring it back. Just to bring it back.
Right in the beginning.
Yeah.
But before we get to the hospital, we also see that Luke's daughter, I keep calling him Luke
Jake.
because he looks
like
the
a
other
Luke.
guy looks like Luke from Summer House.
Dead.
Jake, his daughter, is at the Christmas wish fair with her grandmom.
Yes, making a wish.
Yeah, but we also find out that the grandmom has a lot of superstitions, and she sees things only through her own eyes.
Okay.
She's like, you only get to make one wish. That's all you get for Christmas, and you're not allowed to tell me.
Yep. Rules. There's a lot of rules. You love rules. Little girl, they got the smiliest little girl to play this part. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
Smiley. Yeah, she's very good. She has a lot of energy. We see that she writes a wish for her dad, which is like, I think she writes like, I wish my dad something, but we don't see what it is.
Yeah,
and she
folds it up, puts it on the tree. And
then we meet the creepiest Santa.
Oh, I thought he was really spot on. He was a good one. You thought he was creepy?
Oh
I mean, Santa is creepy. Let's be honest. Like, let's be real here.
Okay, but I've never seen Santa work his magic by doing like a Christmas snort and then
He did. He really did.
So he sees her put the wish in, and then he closes one nostril and blows out the other, which causes a Christmas wind, and it whips her wish up into the air. And this is actually the same wind gust that blows Lindsay Lohan off the mountain and almost kills her.
Oh, is that your theory? I didn't know it was the same wind gust.
Yeah, because the camera
pans up,
goes up, follows the wind, and that's the wind that blows Lindsay off the mountain.
Okay, well, I'll go with that with you. I just thought that was like more magical realism that we love so much in these movies. Santa's gonna perform his like magic, and then I just thought it was like a camera thing, like a camera technique to take us to the mountain, because she's already free falling. She's already in a free fall.
I think that speaks to whether or not you believe in Christmas magic.
Solid. You're right. Yes. So, okay, we cut to the future. She's like at the hospital and she has amnesia. And she's like trying to rip everything off. She's like, get out of my face. You're keeping me prisoner here.
She's being aggressive with the nurse.
Really? Yeah. Really aggressive.
They are unsure of who she is because she doesn't have ID. She doesn't have anything on her to identify who she is. And she can't remember what her name is at this point. And then the police let us know that the local policy is that if people can't remember who they are held indefinitely until they can remember it.
She's a Jane Doe. I am not a Jane Doe. Babe, you are. I thought it was, really, really convenient for the movie that she's allowed to go off with Jake. But
well, that was the other thing.
Really funny.
You're allowed to be held against your will at the hospital, or you can go stay with
your rescuer.
Man, this man who found you at an inn.
Either or. And I'm hard pressed to figure out which one I'd prefer, honestly.
And he goes, oh, it's a bed and breakfast. And she goes, what kind of breakfast?
Yeah, what kind of breakfast? I hope not bacon. Who knows, though?
Better not be bacon.
Better not be bacon.
Do you have room service? So this is what begins the weird blend of what she remembers and what she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Because she clearly remembers that she likes nice hotels. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah. That's just a visual thing. It's just by look. They should have driven her past the Belmont so she could pick.
Right? Like it was funny. It was funny that they didn't toy with her sort of remembering or not remembering.
Yeah, there was no toying with that at all. It was just like, trust us, she doesn't remember anything, but also watch her make a bed or like whatever.
Or and they get her to the point where she's so indoctrinated with the North Pole Inn or North Star Inn that they do take her to the Belmont, and she's like, this is disgusting. And she throws like a brick through the window and she's like, this is horrible. They don't do that either.
That would be funny. That was your rewrite, right? That's your rewrite. Yeah. Yeah, so we get to that lodge, and I just write charming. It's so charming. It's so amazing. And then he goes to the lost and found, gives her a pile of clothes. And she goes, are these used? And he goes, yeah, whatever. She goes, not sure. This was left by accident. And it's just like an ugly sweater. It's just like a line reading for the ages. She kills it.
Yeah. She does light in a way that very few can. She's very good at light.
Yeah. I love Lindsay. This really is her comeback. I didn't find her to be bad at all.
No, I don't think that she was. I didn't mind her performance. I think that her worst moments in the movie were the moments that the script was just doing her a disservice.
Yeah. It's almost shocking that she would do something like this. I saw she was listed as producer. But maybe it's like a fun way to poke fun at herself and also come back in a really lighthearted way. Like, there's no stakes on this movie. Come on.
And a little thing called money.
Well, hard to believe that played any role in it for me personally. We're like, last year, let's like rewind to last year when we're like, why is Vanessa Ann Hutchins doing these? And we're just like, it's a fucking franchise.
Why is Brooke Shields in Castle for Christmas?
Money, bitch.
Money.
Yeah. So then this is like that first night she's there.
I love the room though. I thought her room was cute. It's so charming
and so cute. It has a tree.
It did. Unfortunately, it was ground floor with a lobby exposure, so I would have not enjoyed that. The fact that you open your window and you can see everyone walking by.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're like
something to consider.
You're fancy, Steven.
You're a room snob.
You're a room snob. You're a plane snob. Economy only. No, economy for me. Business for you, right?
Yeah.
Steven doesn't mess around with planes. After that one really horrible plane ride you had one time.
It's quality of life. But I did love the room. Like you said, there's a funny physical comedy where she sees a puppet of a raccoon and she calls him in. Yeah, she falls over the chair. It's very cute.
Super funny. She does pratfalls really well. She has like a Lucille Ball energy. And I remember this from Just My Luck. She did the same thing. She was constantly flailing and falling off of things. So it was really good.
Yeah.
And then he comes in to make it all better, but I don't really remember what they say. It's kind of boring.
It kind of a snooze. And then we also see that Tad, who also has taken a tumble, he, which I loved all these scenes, he stumbles upon like this ice fisherman.
Yeah.
What's weird about his relationship with the ice fisherman is that I think this is like supposed to be our first clue that Tad likes other men. Because there seems to be a rapport between these two that's more than just friendship.
They're hitting it. They're playing house.
Okay, when Tad knocks on the door and opens it and screams sanctuary, like he's in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Sanctuary with his like weird accent. Yeah.
It was so funny to me.
I liked Tad in these scenarios better. Like, I didn't want to see him being insufferable influencer. I wanted to see him at this hut ice fishing.
And what I liked about Tad is that he was never. I mean, the person that he's honestly the worst to is Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
He's actually very nice to every other character.
Every other man.
What's that about? Man. Yeah. What's going on there? So Tad's going to start a relationship with this ice fisherman, and then we see our first, or not our first, because we saw it creep through with her love of fine hotels, but we see her wake up.
Mm-hmm. She does the routine.
With a sock over her eye.
Now she's got sock over her eyes because she doesn't know, she's not sure, but she's definitely someone who doesn't love light.
A muscle memory.
And she must sleep on her back all night because it stayed put. And she reaches for like what would be her phone, but it ends up being the remote.
Oh my god!
And she turns on the TV, and we hear the dun dun of the Netflix, and then it is on the television screen a trailer for our favorite Christmas flick of last year.
Castle for Christmas, which I actually really want to rewatch now. Now, this is also the first of two Castle for Christmas callbacks.
Oh, there was two? Well, I know this one.
I knew you didn't catch it.
Well, at the end with the dress, I thought.
No.
Okay. Wrong. So wrong. Wrong.
This one was good because doesn't she also make a comment like, "Who would even watch this?" Is that what she says, or does she say something?
I don't know.
Else?
I don't remember. I just wrote dead, turns on TV, Castleville Christmas is on. I have LOLs all over my page. Just lol.
Regardless, her reaction to Castle for Christmas is not positive. She turns it off immediately. And
yeah, she's like, get this bullshit off my screen.
And she leaves the room, and
my favorite's coming up. Her name.
Your favorite line. Do you have any names you like?
Her naming scene is coming up.
This was the most insane scene in the movie. It was so funny. Like, I forget. I don't even know how she gets into the room with the girl. It honestly doesn't matter.
Do you have anything I could dry my hair with? Yes. Well, girl brings her in. Girl has a functioning hair dryer, I guess.
Oh, right. That's how she asks her.
I'm like, girl, not with those curls. You're using a diffuser, bitch.
She brings her into the room.
Yeah.
And does the little girl ask her name?
She's like, what do we call you or something? And Lindsay's like, I don't know. Have anything you love?
Do you have any names you like?
Have any names you like? And the little girl goes, we can use one of theirs. Come meet them. And then it's like a bed full of stuffed animals. And I wrote down the names, and I thought we should pick.
Okay, what were the names?
Okay, Frankie.
Yeah.
Wallace. Potter. Sarah.
That was really just only one choice for her, I guess.
The writers of this movie went, we need to slip only one viable option in there, or else it's going to be confusing.
And I think like what they were trying to do here, even though it wasn't successful, because at this point I couldn't remember what her original name was. I think that they were trying to show us that she was like close to Sierra by picking Sarah.
Yeah.
But I
that
could not
escaped
remember.
Me because I didn't remember her real name.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Sarah.
I was like, well, it's a good white name for a Christmas movie, I guess.
Legitimately, what I thought was, oh, I bet her mom was named Sarah.
You're giving this movie too much credit at this point. I was in your exact boat. I completely forgot her name was actually Sierra. So, yeah.
And then they give my second, like this scene has too many good lines to pick from, but I guess the girl is starting to explain that, you know, she pretends sometimes that her stuffed animals are her dead mom, and she likes to talk to them.
Oh yeah, she talks to her mom's picture sometimes.
Oh right.
Which and you're laughing at, you fucking asshole.
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because of the line that comes next.
Oh, let's hear it.
She looks very earnestly at Lindsay and goes, I don't know if that makes me weird. And then Lindsay goes, I don't even know who I am. Nothing is weirder than that.
That was a good one. It was a really good line.
I was like, the mental patients at this point are running the asylum. It's seriously. Like it
is too many kooks in the kitchen. But
well, speaking of, we get a culinary scene next.
So what happens next truly made me like, if I had water in my mouth, it would have been a spit take. Jake is basically saying like, oh my God, we need so much help around here. Blah blah blah. I need a housekeeper, and Lindsay walks into frame on housekeeper. Which murdered me. I thought, like, that is so funny. Yeah. She's the new housekeeper.
She's the new housekeeper.
To do some normal stuff.
Well, that's why I had wished that they had taken a darker route, because she sets herself up to become like an indentured servant at this hotel, because she's like, I guess I just have to do normal things, and maybe I'll learn how to be a person again. She goes, I wonder what normal things are.
What does normal mean?
And they look at each other like, yes, gotcha.
Got her. For free, no less, because we were struggling.
Yeah.
And at this point, I just wrote, what should she remember? You know, like post-amnesia. Yeah. Like, should she remember that she doesn't like making beds or laundry? It seems like she kind of remembers that she doesn't do these things because she's bad at it.
Right. To the point that she almost has no clue how these things work. Like how a sheet works, how a bed works, how a laundry machine works. She doesn't know how anything works. But
yeah, the laundry wasn't her fault. She knocks in too much soap by accident. So
yeah, but I guess what they're also trying to say is that she never did any of this stuff in her life before. Mm-hmm. So even if she did have amnesia, or sorry, if she didn't have amnesia, she probably wouldn't even know how to make a bed either.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, it's blurring that line. Like, What does she remember? What does she not remember?
I know. I think this is what we like to call the fun and games section. I think they're just like, give us another montage, like you said. Come on, Lindsay, like show us your best. Doesn't know how to put on a fitted sheet. She does it. The way that the toilet like spews back up at her and she screams, it's pretty funny. And that comes back in the blooper reel, I think. The toilet. It's so fun.
You know who would be a really good worker at this hotel?
Who?
You.
I was going to say you because you love housekeeping.
But you have a degree in home ec.
For those of you at home, I have a degree in economics with a concentration in home ec. Do you know, like, growing up, my mom, like, she made lessons out of that shit. She would be like, go get the ironing board. We're going to iron today. Like, I learned how to be a housewife from a really young age. So
Good.
My mom taught me how to address an envelope one day.
They should make a masterclass for that on that masterclass website.
My mom would do it. She was very qualified. I had to learn how to address an envelope one day. My mom.
Oh, that's a big lesson.
That's a big one because so many people don't know how to do it, but I know how. Yeah. Ask me. Come to me.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I can cook, I can clean, and also my mom taught me one day how to make a phone call, like a proper phone call, but because she said if you want pizza for dinner tonight, you have to call it or else we're not eating.
Why are you reading me your adoption application?
Isn't that rude? I want acknowledgement.
Well, if you want acknowledgement, this is not the place to get it because they're really also not offering her much like training. They're sort of just setting her up to fail.
Yeah.
Because they have big problems, and their big problem is that and we've seen this, and we have warned anybody that will listen, this is why you don't go against big tech. They start dragging Airbnb's name through the mud.
Be careful.
And all of a sudden, they have no business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that someone out in the ether heard that negativity.
And then they drag their business down. And we also get another hair scene where Lindsay helps the daughter brush her hair or something like that.
Yep.
And then she says, Dina Lohan always says the worst tangles will sort themselves out.
And I said, thank you, Dina.
But this is another scene that uses so much observational language. It's like, look, a hairbrush, and then they go outside. Look, a sleigh.
Look, a horse.
And then, yeah.
I wrote, this is so rude. I wrote, is this movie for babies?
Yeah. It's very like, it's actually a good film to learn the language by because it's like sight words. It's like
I know it was rated PG, but it's like PG could usually mean like understands English to 100 years old. This movie was like birth to 100. You can watch this.
They're constantly pointing at objects and telling you what they're called.
Yeah, but it was really nice to get some tears from Lindsay here. I basically wrote, she's back. Lindsay's back. She's very good at being emotional, and she's emotional when she sees the horse. She
is good, and she sees the horse named Balthazar, and
I was like, she can read the word Balthazar post amnesia. Wow.
She also gets a reprimand at work, and she gets yelled at, and
that's what causes her to run away and get all sad, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but then they forgive each other, and then he's like, I'm going to make it up to you because even though I haven't paid you, I'm going to take you to the local Christmas market with our daughter, your soon-to-be daughter. And
hint, hint.
And they go, and as Lindsay walks in, I think she says, a market. It's really cute. And it's helpful because it lets us know what it is.
Yeah, I was confused.
And the creepy Santa is there, and we see that he's an aggressive salesperson, and he sells them a snow globe, which I guess is in lieu of payment for Lindsay. She's gonna be paid in snow globes.
And it means a lot to her, so good for her. No harm, no foul.
Yeah. It
you keep going, because I wrote down the line, who told you you can't sing? And I don't remember where that comes into place, so you're going to have to help me.
Well, then they go, then the dad is like, "Oh, we better hurry up. We don't want to miss the fireworks and the tree lighting." And we see the tree lighting, and I think they sing during that. And she was like, "Oh, I don't know how to sing." And he's like, "Just try." He's like, "It's a group environment. No one can hear anyone anyway. So like,
just do it.
Your voice is going to get washed out." So she does sing, and I think he says that line.
Yeah, who told you can't sing? And then I was like, this is a movie about trauma. Look at us.
And then Lindsay does have like this very selfish line where she says to the daughter, like, basically like, "Oh, I hope, I'm forgotten. I can't believe I'm forgotten." And then she like says to the daughter, like, "I hope you never forget me." And the daughter was like, "You're the first person I'd remember." And I was like, "Babe, your mom? How about her?
What about
How about
mommy?
we keep her? Well, let's keep mom in the number one position.
Keep her in your heart, please." I skipped ahead after that in my notes. I just have toy drive. Lindsay is mommy, toy drive.
Yeah.
And she wraps a present with gloves on. Cardinal sin number 1. What?
Well, okay, you're right. So we lead up to this toy drive outside, and then we find out that the whole town loves Luke. They think he's
You mean
a
Jake
saint.
Russell. Luke.
Oh my God, I keep calling him Luke.
The whole town loves Jake Russell.
Yeah, he does. They do like him. But I think we also start to see Lindsay start to grow in her position, and she starts to learn skills that you would learn in middle school, sort of similar to like things that you learned from your mom. Mm-hmm. One scene did make me laugh when they were making the gingerbread house together, and she like very innocently puts icing on his nose, and he grabs a handful of like hard candy and throws it at her face.
It's a movie for babies.
And you hear it like smash against the walls. It was like, those stale gumdrops that you use for
I know them. They're really
like
hard to chew.
As rock.
Can't even chew them. Gets chucked in her face.
The way that he like threw them is like those pellets that you use to shoot geese that like spray everywhere. And that's when I was like, he's basically keeping her there as like an unskilled pet, like who's not allowed to leave the grounds.
I just wrote LMAO, this dialogue, hilarious. And that is the moment when everyone goes, that Jake Russell does so much for so many people. I wonder how we could show him, right? Like that we care. Isn't that something the line?
Okay, that is the line, but it felt very much like that woman was telling Lindsay Lohan, like, you need to sleep with him. Didn't you think that's what she was saying? She was like, he's been helping our town out for years, and we've never been able to think of a way to pay him back. Do you have any ideas? And then I was like, no, that can't be what the movie's saying. And then the next scene is them standing under mistletoe.
The mistletoe.
I was like, oh my God, they want her to have sexual relations with him as a
town
way to
that wants to use legal prostitution to help bring the inn back. Or illegal, maybe.
Now, I did love this because she says no, like, or he says no, like, we're not going to kiss.
But
like,
should she remember what mistletoe is? I want to know. This is where I'm getting bogged down. I'm getting bogged down in the details.
It was weird, right? Because he sort of explains it to her, but she gives him a look like, I don't need an explanation. Like, I know what we do here. And regardless,
he calls it off. He calls it off.
And then the next morning in the lodge, I had the biggest scream laugh I've ever had watching a movie in a long time.
I know.
The two guests are checking out
from the sleigh. Yeah.
And they're checking out, and they are walking out, and Lindsay just yells at them, "Thanks for staying at the North Star." Says the dead body to the guests.
It's like me on my first day at like the bakery.
I scream laugh so hard because I'm like, imagine being them. Like you the last time you saw this person, she was dead on the ground. And now she's working at the hotel.
She sees them one more time. Was it like earlier at the hotel? And they go, oh, hey, like, how are you? How are you feeling? She goes, you know me? And they were like, yeah, like, we saw you that one day at the hospital or whatever. And I just died laughing at, you know me? It was very like Buddy the elf.
Yeah. It had that big energy. So I was sad to see them go, but I was happy that at least we got to see her deliver that line.
I have to look up that actress because it was her first movie for sure. She had nothing going on behind the eyes.
It was so funny. Hard. And then we get a scene next. The grandmother goes, I call this my memory book. It's a scrapbook.
Yeah. Sweetie, we know what that is. Okay?
Turns out the mom has taken inappropriate pictures of all the guests over the years, and they've kept them in a book, so they will remember everybody who's ever stayed there and what they look like.
Ever. It's like very pre-social media. In a lot of ways, a commentary is the opposite of what Tad is. You know, these people are like truly living in the moment. Yeah, Tad is not.
And then what's really funny about the scrapbook is that they imply like, oh, there's something. The grandmother goes, I'm going to leave this with you, and when you're done, put it away. But I like, basically, it's like she's like saying like, I want you to look at this book. Like, there's going to be something in this book that you need. And then I was thinking, oh, like I bet her, like Lindsay Lohan's parents stayed at this hotel.
Oh, that would have been cool. Nice and little then, slip up motel.
And like, right, and that's how they knew that. Like they wanted to build a resort here, right?
That would have been so cool.
So she passes her the book. The grandmother walks out of the room. The grandmother is gone for 1 second. Lindsay slams the book shut.
Goes put it in the drawer.
And puts it in the drawer.
It's enough for me.
So funny to me. Because like they made such pains for her to be like, I want to leave you alone with this book now. Like what you do with it is your choice. She doesn't even look in it.
No, I know. She has her mind made up about what she's going to do with the book.
She immediately closes it, and I think she puts it in the drawer, and that's when she sees the angel. And
sad.
I mean, imagine going through with someone's like desk, and then they catch you, and you say, hey, I found this in your desk. You really need to put this on display.
You need to put this up. It was all so on the nose, this movie, that I started to come to expect it. And you look exactly on his face, and he's like, oh, it's just too hard.
He's literally like, this is an angel. It goes on top of a Christmas tree. A Christmas tree is something we put up for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's right over there.
What's it doing in your drawer? He's like, have you heard of your wife dying? I'm a widow.
It's almost heavy. It's almost like they found a converter online where they just plugged in the plot summary and it just spat out the dialogue for them as a way to be like, okay, Lindsay finds angel in drawer. Wonders why it's not hanging up. It's like they just took that and then that became the dialogue.
I wrote at some point in my notes, this movie was cooked out by a machine. Like they plugged in every Christmas movie, shook it around, and they said, spit out a script. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why I wish that they just would have given it a second pass, because I think there were so many opportunities. Like, given that there were so many plot holes to begin with, like let's just go for broke and make it as kooky as we could.
Yeah. This one went through production quickly, is how I feel.
And then
so this becomes a Save the Lodge movie. Let me just pause.
It becomes a Shark Tank movie.
They were hinting at it with the Airbnb comment, but am I wrong?
I didn't get it.
Yeah. Am I wrong in saying for all the things that were really not subtle in this movie, the Save the Lodge of it all was so subtle to the point where I'm like, wait, an hour and 15 in, now it's a Save the Lodge movie? Really?
Well, something that we've been really generous about that we haven't said yet is that like this 40-ish minutes we've been talking about really drags, because it's like where are we going? Like the scenes of her learning how to work at the lodge, getting better at working at the lodge takes literally 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And in all of that, we get no semblance, or rather, the movie doesn't pick up on that thread again that we're going to need to make money for the lodge. It's not until after this scene where he degrades her again that she's like, oh, if I really want to earn my keep, I better come up with a good idea quick. Because he says something to her like,
no.
I think she's like, oh,
and I've made up my mind already.
Well, that
he comes around fast, I just want to say.
But she pitches this idea because we need to raise money for the lodge, and she's like, we need to keep the memory of the North Star Lodge alive. And do you remember what he says back to her?
Is this when he goes, it's not you?
No, he goes, what do you know about memories? You can't even remember your name.
So fucked up. I had a different line written down from before that where he goes, it's not you. And then he goes, actually, it is you.
Yeah.
You've changed me. But yeah,
you're right. Like he lashes out, and then he has like one talk with his daughter and the grandma, and they're like, actually, this is our only option. We need to do this telethon or whatever it is to raise money.
Yeah, this memory ball night. And the flyers are produced instantaneously. They print on the press.
They print them out on the laser jet, and they are
shiny and beautiful.
And his whole world changes, and then they tie this up real quick. The next scene we get is, and I felt like this was very emotionally manipulative. He makes Lindsay Lohan put the dead wife's favorite angel up on the tree, which I feel like as if I was the daughter, I would be like a little bit uncomfortable watching that, but she does it.
The girl is ready to move on, Abby. She's ready.
She's ready to move on. That's why she was like,
chosen a new mom. Yeah.
Yes. And then, in case you forgot, Lindsay Lohan's family, staff members, they haven't started looking for her yet until right now.
In case you haven't forgot, I wrote, these kooks at the Belmont didn't file a missing persons report. Not for 1 second.
Her sister, Aliana Lohan, opens the door, or they're like, she said not to disturb us. And Aliana Lohan goes, it's been 2 days.
Exactly like that.
And he goes, okay, let's go in. So they go in, the bed's made, and they're like, that's when they know that something's up, because she would never make her bed. And this is when they
don't get caught as not like acting until dad comes back. And then dad's like, what the fuck? And then they go up into her room. And they're like, whoa. And he's like, my daughter, oh my God, there's sirens in my environment. He goes, my daughter would never leave without her luggage.
True. Yeah. So it's at least 4 days, I guess after that we actually start to get the hunt on.
It's a long weekend. For sure.
And so they go to the police. And then while this is all happening, it's the night of the memory ball.
Love this timeline. Love it.
This scene was shocking to me. The grandmom comes in to Lindsay Lohan's room and goes, I got you something.
Inappropriate.
And shoes.
And shoes. Oh, yeah, I know. You want to know what that read like? You ever give someone a present and you see them go through it and they're like, wow, thank you so much. And you know there's one more thing in the bag that they've forgotten. And you just want to be like, there's a card in there. Don't throw it out. Like, don't throw it away. That was the line read on and shoes.
And shoes. But what was weird is that, like, okay, I was like, they're gonna play. They could do this one of 3 ways. Yeah. One of them, which I hope they wouldn't do, is they're gonna get a really sexy dress, which is what they chose.
That's what they chose.
Another one is that they get a modest, normal dress, sort of like Brooke Shields with that tartan look.
Yeah.
The third option is that they would have gone for a hideous dress that the grandma picked out.
See, your mind works really differently than mine. I saw 2 options. It's dead mom's dress, or something new.
I did think that it could be the dead mom's dress.
Those were my 2 options in my head. I'm very glad with what they went with. Very tasteful.
When she comes down the stairs, whoa. It is a sexy dress.
Lots of cleavage.
I mean, cold. I would be cold.
No, I know. It's like, it's so like revealing that it makes a lot of sense that she's in a sequined shawl, like the next scene.
Yeah. Well, so then she comes in. Yeah, she comes down. She puts her sequin shawl on, and he goes, "Let's do last looks. Let's do last looks for the party." And she like walks through, and then I was like, "Oh my God, she has become the vice president of Atmosphere."
Oh, good read on it.
Like she's
Wow.
naturally, I wrote down she was the director of ambiance, but then I realized that's not actually her title. It's vice
Vice
president
president,
of
atmosphere.
atmosphere. So she does become the vice president of atmosphere. In this scene, they like are standing belly to belly, and this is the first scene where I was like, oh my God, they did meet.
Oh, you remembered in that
My
moment.
first watch, this was when I first realized that they had met
Oh,
before.
see, I was still in the dark on my first watch. I still said, who was that guy in the beginning? I don't remember. He's
But
very unassuming looking, Jake.
very unassuming.
This is a moment for a lined finish where someone goes, "You look," and then he finishes, "Beautiful," and it's just like this fucking movie. This fucking movie.
Well, they have to wrap everything up because we have all these things coming together at once. We get
Yeah.
this really emotional scene where the townspeople come together and they make monetary donations to the North Star Lodge. And this was actually a very touching scene. I thought it was really well done. And they share their memories and they give them checks, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I would. For 1 second, I wanted to see an insert on a check. Like, just show me an amount. I didn't
Show
see
me
any,
amount.
but it's okay. Whatever you can give.
But this is getting spliced in with a funny scene where Tad and the ice fisherman arrive at the police station right when Lindsay Lohan's dad is there looking for Lindsay. And they run into each other, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I found Tad so insufferable. I just like glazed over this.
I did like that Tad got that man unarrested. I couldn't tell why they were arresting him.
Oh, that was so funny. He just what did I wrote it down. It was something like, "Get the cuffs off of him. It's Christmas after all."
Yeah. And then they're like, let's stay in touch, and they like wink at each other.
Oh, I thought I wrote it, but okay. Yeah, they get to the station, and it's very easily to find Lindsay Lohan. It's very easy. The sheriff knows where she is. He knows. He goes, "I know where she is." Is it the sheriff?
Right.
Or someone at the station knows?
The police officer at the station was originally the guy in the hospital, and I guess they either show him a picture or they let him know, but he's the one that leads them to her.
Yeah.
So it seems like he could have done this legwork on his own, but he did not.
Nope. Someone had to come looking for her.
And just as it looks like Lindsay and
Luke.
Jake. Oh, Lindsay and Luke they're like standing really close together. They look like a family. Lindsay, Jake, the kid, and the grandmom.
So cute.
Tad bursts in.
He's like, "Oh my God, thank God I found you." And real quick, Lindsay remembers. Real fast. All in that moment.
Well, the way this scene is done is it's very strange because she's telling us that she remembers, but her face is like doubting
Confusing.
it a little bit. Yeah. It was a little bit confused as to like what she actually remembered.
Yeah. I am engaged. I do have a dad. It's like all in that moment.
Dad. Do I have a mom? No, I don't have a mom.
Nope,
so
no mom.
She leaves, and
it's a whirlwind. She doesn't even seem upset about leaving. She just goes. She's like, "This is my life now."
She leaves, and the way she leaves was a little bit rude, I do think. And I think it made sense, like, why the grandmother was, like, kind of rude to her as she was leaving, because it was really disrespectful the way that they left. Like, they just walked right out.
They're like, "Thanks for keeping her by."
Yeah, the grandmom, he was like, "I can tell by the way that my daughter looks right now that you did a good job of taking care of her." And then I thought, okay, naturally, there's a donation pile here. They're going to make a donation.
Yeah, something. "Thank you so much for your hospitality. Here's a check." Nope.
They leave, and the grandmother's like, she has her family that she has to go to.
Yeah.
And then they leave. It's Christmas morning.
There's a ridiculous press conference that I don't even care about, which makes little to no sense. I guess it was getting a lot of media attention.
Okay, but this was the second Castle for Christmas reference. The
God.
grandmom they open their gifts. The grandmom opens hers. Do you remember what she got?
No, not at all. On 2 watches.
She said, "Thank you for my book. I love it."
My book.
It was a book written by Brooke Shields' character from Castle for Christmas.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Why didn't I catch that?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm confused by that. So that one's for the fact check next week. Maybe you'll have to apologize.
Maybe. So then, but we see that the Luke is so upset and he is so mad and he's like, ugh, this Christmas sucks even though I'm with my family. Blah, blah, blah. And Lindsay is also kind of down in the dumps because she's with Tad. And they do that press conference, which is supposed to be about her being saved, but she uses it to plug the North Star.
The North Star Inn. That's North Star Inn. Repeats it.
It's really good. I had a really good time there. North Star.
North Star Inn. Do not stay at an Airbnb. North Star Inn.
Yeah, Airbnbs are gross. So she plugs it and then
sweet, cute.
It was cute, and we can tell that her and Tad might be not in it for the long haul. And she ends up breaking up with Tad in the hallway. And I actually thought this scene was really nice because she says, like, you're a good guy and this just isn't going to work for us. And I actually thought it was very mature the way that she handled the breakup.
It was, and he handled it well too.
He handled it well too, and I thought, like, you know what? He actually isn't a bad guy. He's just gay. And that's
they make like the borderline villain gay in all of these movies. With that.
And he ends up seducing the head butler, and they
what are you doing? Get in the car.
What are you doing for New Year's? Get in the car. And at the same time, at the North Star, they realize that they're getting all these calls, and that since Lindsay Lohan threw them all this business, he has to marry her now.
Yes, that's the exact logic that they wanted you to think. That business and marriages, that's how they work.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, guys, enjoy your Christmas breakfast. I gotta go. And he goes over to the Belmont and
on a sleigh pulled by Balthazar.
Okay, but also not just any sleigh, a brand new sleigh.
Who put the sleigh there? Was it Santa?
A sleigh.
A sleigh. Who? He's like, let me go dust off the snowmobile. And he goes, and he's like, oh, damn it. Like, oh, darn it. Probably not damn it, because it's a movie for babies. And he like looks out the window and they're like, what's that? It's a sleigh. Who put that there?
It was confusing who put the sleigh there. Maybe it was the Santa Claus.
I think it was Santa.
Okay, so Santa put it. Okay, maybe that was the wish.
With magic.
So he gets there in time. He connects with Lindsay, and they walk out into the courtyard, and the dad is there. Actually, no, this was a really weird scene because Lindsay and Luke are out there, and they're like, oh my God, Jake, sorry. Lindsay and Jake are out there, and he's like, oh, so glad you just divorced your fiance. Like, we should get together.
Yeah, he didn't even have to pitch himself because she was already on board. She was already there.
Yeah. And like, I think they kiss, and then like
they kiss.
I know they just had to get all the characters together, but it was really, really weird to me that her dad brought his daughter out into the little courtyard. It was sort of bizarre.
Okay, yeah, he just had to be their dad, and where she's like, "Daddy, I don't want the job."
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. He's like, I've never been more proud of you.
The nepo job that you created for me, don't want it.
Don't want it. I want to do something else.
Think so. 10 years later, the North Star is an Airbnb because they couldn't compete.
It's all Airbnbs. And then that's basically the ending.
Yeah, I mean, we get that everyone's out front. We finally when Jake arrives, I forgot this part until right this moment. He pitches himself at the limousine window, and he's like confessing his love for her. And when he rolls down the window, it's Tad in the car. And I think that's the point where I wrote, I knew Tad was gay.
Yeah. What's funny is that they play it like Tad thought that he was talking to him for real. And he's like, sorry, you're a little late.
Because Tad's in there, with the guy. But so I felt really justified in that moment. I was like, I knew I was getting vibes. And then it made it so when Jake meets Lindsay in the courtyard, he doesn't have to pitch himself at all. Because he already pitched himself to a window, But yeah,
he's
everyone.
like, I'm not going to do that again.
Everyone comes out front. more magical realism. The daughter's wish came true, and
Mm-hmm.
Jake really in a cringe way brought some mistletoe for the kiss, and he's like, I don't know if you know what this is, but blah blah blah. And Lindsay's like, I know what to do with this, and she chucks it, and they kiss. I wrote, wow, I'm dead. And then blooper reel.
Blooper reel, and then it ends. And the blooper reel really was the highlight of the movie.
Highlight
it was
of the movie.
So good.
Best part.
If you left before it, you need to go back and watch it.
You need to fast
so
forward.
Funny. This was I enjoyed the movie. It was actually my second Christmas movie I watched this week.
Wow, good for you. What'd you watch? What was the first one?
The first one was with Vanessa Lachey. It was about she was okay, get this. She was
Get a load
trying
of this.
she and this guy were both putting bids on a space. She wanted to open up a year-round Christmas store. He wanted to open up a gourmet chocolate shop. And they want to fight the whole movie.
It's fated.
About who is going to be able to buy the store. But conveniently enough, those are two businesses that can operate together.
Weird.
And they end up together.
I hadn't even thought about it until you said it.
That was good
Why
too.
are these movies so corny?
I really liked the Vanessa Lachey one. I like this one too. I think they could have cut out about 30 minutes in the middle. I already know it was very short to begin with, but
You can't lose 30 from this, then it becomes a short film.
becomes a TV episode.
Seriously. So funny.
But overall, really enjoyed it. I did think that it was a little bit weird that, as you may know, Lindsay Lohan's co-star in The Parent Trap, Natasha Richardson,
sad. Yeah, I was gonna bring this up.
Died in a skiing accident.
I know.
So that was weird. Although when I watch Out of Control Skiers, the only thing I ever think about is remember that time that this guy wanted to sue Gwyneth because she was out of control skiing and ran
you said,
him over.
I hope he rots in hell.
I hope he rots in prison for the rest of his life for bringing that lawsuit.
On to Gwyneth.
But yeah, Out of Control Skiing is a big deal. But
it is really dangerous, and it was played for complete lulz in this movie, which like you just have to really just take the ride. You've got to be like, okay, this is a bunch of green screen work and a bunch of stunt work, and
head injuries are funny.
Head injuries are funny in this world. When it cuts to the hospital and they say like she's all right, she just has a minor concussion or whatever. My mind immediately went to Natasha Richardson, and I was like, oh yikes! Like this movie really has to distance itself from that kind of a narrative like quick.
Well, what's funny about the
they
concussion,
went goof.
The concussion of it too is that like they put her to work with a concussion within 24 hours.
No one babysat her that night to see if she'd stayed up.
Exactly. No one was there to monitor her headache or to see if it got worse.
This movie, like so many that we've covered on Star Vehicle, it doesn't want to take any pains to have to explain itself. Why bother when it can just have fun? So it's just like, yes, it's like, of course she has amnesia, but she's going to go right to work. Of course she's not going to stay at the hospital. She's going to go off with Jake and this stranger. Like, of course. Like, they just do a lot of, it's a movie where no one's really looking to fight. There's no conflict.
Yeah, I agree. And it was very enjoyable. There really were no problems in the movie, which I always love. Like, there were,
no problems.
Aside from the financial problems at the inn, even though that was a big problem, the fact that they just didn't talk about it until there was a really quick solution was good, because then we didn't have to stress.
It's low stress, and I appreciate it, man. My life is stressful.
Exactly. So,
I can't say it's my favorite Christmas movie. I think I love Dun Dunbar. Dun Dunbar really did something to me.
Out of like the Netflix specific Christmas movies we've watched, for sure, I think Castle for Christmas I really enjoyed. I also really like that one with Emma Roberts. That was really good.
Oh, Holiday?
Holiday.
Oh, that one's in a league of its own though. Like put that one in theaters.
Holiday is not for babies. It's very crass.
It's not for babies. Yeah, you know what? This is my favorite movie that was made for babies.
Made for babies.
This is my number one.
It was very enjoyable in that sense, and I hope that this is a return to form for Lindsay. I think that what it showed us is that Lindsay can really do the physical comedy, which I would love, but I also think that Lindsay needs a serious piece as well, because I would love to see her, like, this is what I said to you about Tar, which was that, like, Tar, for me, would have been a great movie if it was Jennifer Lopez.
You say that. You're like, cast J-Lo.
Imagine J-Lo as Tar. Like,
oh my God.
I would be there. I would be there opening night.
We know, Steven. We know.
So I think Lindsay needs a Tar. Like, she needs a...
I'm waiting for her to come back with something really serious. I think this was the safest way possible to come back. I think it's just like, no one cares if this movie's good or bad. And if anything, it's always going to exceed expectations, because it did for me. It is 100% better than I would have ever thought.
And I will say that, like, I genuinely I bought into her attraction towards him.
Yes.
I did not buy into his attraction towards her sometimes, because it felt like, for me, sometimes it was very like, what can she do for me? And she was like, oh, I really love him, even though he verbally yells at me.
He's like, I need a housewife.
Right. Like, so... The romance was almost there, but
I like this couple.
No complaints.
We like to sometimes pose the question, like, do they have staying power? I think they do, for sure. They're still together.
I think they have staying power, and I think unlike a lot of the other couples that we've seen, they do have similar interests. They both love the hotel industry. Yes. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
They both love hotels.
They both love hotels, and that's it.
She had an okay time skiing, even though we know she doesn't really ski. He brought it out in her.
She did fine.
She did just fine. She pizzaed.
Yeah, she pizzaed her way down.
Pizzaed her way.
But
yeah,
that's that.
That's that. I feel good about that. First Christmas movie of the season. Always so glad to have one on the books. I'm very glad it was not 4 Christmases. This one,
the worst movie ever.
This one reeked of Christmas, unlike 4 Christmases. That's my big note. Like, you just gotta smack me in the face like those candies. You gotta hit me in the head with Christmas, or else I'm out.
Yeah, I did. I think, like, one of the things that really worked for the movie was the setting of it. It felt so. Yeah. It felt so such an escape.
It was an escape. Yes, it was its own little pocket.
Yeah, like, the outside world didn't really communicate with us.
Yes.
So it was almost like, is Lindsay alive? Is she dead? Is she dreaming this? Is she in heaven? Is she in hell? Is she just in, like, a weird state? Because they were in, like, this weird make-believe bubble, which I loved. It was
great. I loved it. It was timeless and locationless. That's why I wrote multiple times, where is the Belmont? Could be Canada, could not be. I'd like to visit, is all I have to say.
Well, we'll look forward to see what Lindsay does next. This was for sure a star vehicle, because honestly, who would have watched this if it wasn't for Lindsay? In the same way that we wouldn't have watched Castle for Christmas if there was no Brooke Shields.
Of course. So, if you weren't on board with star vehicle, we hope you're on board now, because there's a lot more where this came from.
Oh my God, you're gonna have to work on your elevator pitch.
I hope I don't want to drag this out any longer, but I really hope Lindsay ends up with a career more like J-Lo going forward. Like, I would love Era's Lindsay, and, like, I just want to see her cook out a movie every 18 months, and I want them to get increasingly better, and I'm just like so psyched. Like, I hope she does that.
I think she will. She looks great. She looks really great. With it. I think you can only go up from here, and that's not saying that she's in a low place, but, like, she can only continue to do well.
Yeah, I'm psyched. Oh my God. Ugh, I can't wait for another Lindsay on the pod. Don't forget to like, rate, review, you guys, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We will be bringing you another new release next week. Merry frickin' Christmas.
Yeah, don't be afraid to say Merry Christmas.
Don't be afraid to say Merry Christmas. We do not. No, guys, we are not. No. Say Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays.
It's easier.
Happy Holidays.
We're 2, like, former A students. Like, no, I take it back.
No. Happy Holidays.
Right. Bye, Steven.
Okay, bye.
Whatever.